Tell them that we're going to tell Mike and Fred now. When we left off with Mike and Fred, they were trying to escape down the hot river in the underground cavern. They had to be careful because their boat was very fragile. It was made out of molten rock that had hardened. It was very brittle. They were trying to escape the Quake people because they were after them and they could hear them in the back running to try to get Mike and Fred and Jones. So here they were paddling against the river. The steam was coming up around them and they were very, very nervous because they had to get back to where they started so that they could escape the Quake people. They were coming around a bend in the hot river when all of a sudden, they heard this, "Oh!" and they looked up, and the two townspeople that were kidnapped by the Quake people were being dragged into a small cave up above. There were stairs cut out that went up to this small cave, and the Quake people, they could see them, 4 of them, were dragging the townspeople into that small cave. At that time, Mike and Fred, they knew that they had to save the townspeople. But how could they do it? There was Quake people behind them, and they were being dragged into a cave where they didn't know. Should they let them go, or should they save them? But Mike and Fred, being who they are, they knew that they had to save them, because they were really heroes. So they stopped their boat on the hot river, they jumped onto the narrow ledge, and started up the stairs. And here they could see the Quake people coming behind them, running on the narrow ledge. They shone the one light that they had, and they said, should we take a chance and use the remaining flash they had in their camera? They only had one left in order to startle them. So what they did is they took the oar, the one remaining oar they had to paddle the boat, and the flash, and they put Mike on the narrow ledge behind a rock. And as the Quake people came charging there, they could just see their pink eyes in the dark as they come charging, and Mike used the remaining flash, and they could see their hands screaming as they backed off from the light. Fred charged them with the paddle and knocked them into the hot river. And you could hear them scream, "Ah!" as they went into the hot river. And they fell like dominoes because they were on a very narrow ledge. And those that were left kind of to run back, but they knew that they had to save the townspeople. So they ran as fast as they could. And as they were running up the stairs, the earth trembled again. It was an aftershock. It was an aftershock of the quake that they felt. And they knew they might be doomed because the rocks were falling from the ceiling. They had to save the townspeople and themselves. So they ran up the stairs. Jones stayed behind because he was bitten by the oysters with legs, and they couldn't move because his legs were starting to swell from the poison. They were worried about him too, because they had to get him out too, plus the townspeople.
And themselves.
That's right. So they ran up the stairs, and then there they were in front of the dark cave. It was a small cave. The Quake people could fit in it very easy because they were only 4 feet tall. But Mike and Fred, they were 6 feet. They were big people. So they didn't know what they should do. It was dark. The flashlight that they had almost lost all its power. They had no more flashes left on their camera. So they knew they had a choice. Were they going to go in and risk their lives to save the townspeople? So Mike said, I'll go first, Fred, because you were captured there, and I'll take the risk. So, squatting, he started to move into the cave. Now, Mike had very sharp ears. He could hear things. He was very quick. He didn't use the light because he wanted to save the batteries. So there he was, squatting, kind of moving along down the narrow and listening. He heard a little rustle. Something like stones and pebbles falling. And he knew something was close by. So he took the paddle from the boat. He positioned himself against the side of the cave. And in one motion, he shone the light. And there was the Quake people ready with a claw to get him. But right away, he swang. And he got him with the paddle. Just like that. So he knew that that one person was the rear guard. So then he started faster, because he knew that he had, if the deeper he got into the cave, the more dangerous it would be, because this was their territory, and they knew it. So they came down to the cave, and there was a fork. There was a cave to the right, and one to the left. He went and he looked, what should I do? Which way should I go? If I go one way, there might not be anything there, or it might be a trap. If I go to the left, there might be the townspeople, or it might be a dead end. How does he decide which way to go? Next time. Grandma?
Yeah, okay. Come on, Grandpa. There's more to the story, right?
Oh, sure.
Follow the chicken footprints.
Please go on.
Is that lady over there?